sensation. Why the sensation? Because certain kinds of behavior, we all acquire the knowledge of the environment through our senses. How we learn? Suppose from birth to 2 years, a child or an infant, he cannot speak, he cannot communicate. How he will learn about the environment? By using his senses. He will hear certain things, he will see certain things, he will taste certain things, and he will get the sensation through skin. So this is hot, this is cold, this is bright, this is dark, all these things, all this knowledge about the environment, he will learn by using his senses. So under psychology, we have to learn about the senses. And these are how the infant is holding this, how the person is lying down. But because this sensation of the body, how our body is moving. Somebody is sitting like this, somebody is keeping their arms like this. But we know we are keeping our arms in the chair. We are leaning in the chair. We know this is the sensation. And then different kind of things when we touch. This is rough, this is smooth, this is spiny. Everything we know by using our senses. After sensation, we will learn about perception. Perception is what? Through senses, we get the raw materials of the environment. This is red, this is blue, this is black, this is hot, this is cold. These raw materials come through the senses. And then by integrating all this knowledge, we know about the environment. Now you can perceive this is a classroom. You can perceive this is a classroom, this is a board, this is a picture. You can perceive. This is the total perception. But how you know, how you can perceive this is the classroom? Because all the different things, the light from that angle, and the environment, the warm environment, you can just light from each and every individual. It's coming. Everything is coming through your senses. And all this information are processed in your brain. Everything is processed in your brain. And then finally you can understand this is a classroom. That is your complete perception. Now in these pictures, suppose the second one. What is this? What is this? Can anybody tell me what is this? Nothing. It just whatever you can see in this. Tell me. Lines. And this is? This is what? Square. And this is a circle. But how can you say this is a square? This blank part is there. But still you can say this is a square, this is a circle. You are perceiving it. Although the part is not there, you are perceiving this as a square. These are some properties of perception. These are, you can say, some triangles. But there are gaps. It's not a continuous triangle. And what is this? It's okay. What? It's okay, what? Alright. And what else? What else you can see here? Two faces. So this is the perception, how we perceive the things. So all this information goes to our brain and then it processes in the brain and then we can get the complete perception. So you will learn about perception. So about the meaning of psychology, then human brain, then heredity and environment, sensation, then perception, and what else? You will learn in psychology about learning, how we learn things, so different ways we learn, and then thinking, how we think, and then attention, memory. All these things you will be learning under the course psychology. So these are the things. This is about, these are pictures about human expression or emotions. This also you will get under psychology. Anger, joy, smile, aggression, all this will be included under psychology. Now let us come to the first class. All this time I was telling about what will be included under psychology. Now what psychology is? It is a science of human and animal behavior. It includes the applications of the science to human problems. First you try to understand. And I'll give you the PowerPoint slides you go through. Both the things simultaneously you won't be able to do. Looking at the slide, listening to my lecture, and then writing. Three things together you won't be able to do. Okay? Some points you can note it down, but not line by line. And then psychology is a science. And psychology is the science of behavior. It is a science as well as it is a science of behavior. It is the study of the mind and behavior. The discipline, the psychology discipline, it embraces all aspects of the human experience. From the functions of human brain, I told you, functions of human brain, to the actions of the nation, whole nation. And then from child development to the old age. It covers all these things in psychology. It is why it is said as a science. Why psychology is a science? Because what is a science? A science is a body of systematized knowledge. The knowledge is very systematic. It's a systematized knowledge and is gathered by carefully observing and measuring. Have you done your science experiments in the class? You have done it very systematically, one after another. And you have observed and measured the events. First, what happened? You have measured. Second, what happened? You measured. And then finally, you have come to a conclusion. Isn't it? So, it is a systematic body of knowledge that is gathered by carefully observing and measuring events. You are carefully observing and measuring the events, then you are coming to a conclusion. And here, how you can relate it to psychology? Psychologists do experiments. Even the psychologists do experiments and make observations which others can repeat. Psychologists make experiments. Their experiments are on what? Human behavior. How a person is behaving. How a young child is behaving in a situation. He is systematically observing that behavior, and that others can repeat it. Suppose intelligence. How a person, suppose Wechsler or Stanford Binet, how they have come to a conclusion that intelligence is like this. Because systematically he observed human behavior right from birth to the adolescence. And then he has come to the conclusion that individual's intelligence is like this. So systematically observing the events and then organizing it, which others can repeat. They obtain data often in the form of quantitative measurements which others can verify. Even in psychology, we can get information in quantitative form. It is not that only in science you get the information in quantitative form. It is not that. In psychology also, you can get the information in quantitative form. Suppose an intelligence of a child, you can say in the form of IQ. Have you heard the term IQ? Intelligence quotient. We can say his IQ is this much. Nowadays, social intelligence has come, emotional intelligence has come. This can be expressed in quantitative form. It is not that only in science we can get quantitative information, but in psychology also we get the information in quantitative form. And it's a systematic body of knowledge which can be integrated after careful observation, which can be repeated by other people. So this is why psychology is called a science. And again, it is an art, because application of knowledge to practical problem is an art. And now this knowledge is applied in practical life to solve one's problem. And the application of knowledge to practical problem is an art. It is a skill or knack for doing things. The psychologist talking to a worried person, educational psychologist advising a school board, social psychologists trying to lessen tensions between management and workers in a large industry are all practicing the art of psychology. So whatever information the psychologist got, these are having some applicability in real life situation, and that is an art. So psychology can be said as a science as well as it is an art. Now psychology is the study of behavior. One of you said that psychology is the study of mind. Can we say something about your mind? How can you say? What is going on in my mind? Can you say? Can you say what is going on in his mind now? So how it will be possible to study one's mind? How can we study one's mind? Psychology is the study of mind. But how can we study one's mind? Can you? We can understand human mind through his observable behavior. Suppose, can you give an example of an observable behavior? Of expression. Suppose some of you are dozing in the class. I can observe this. Some of you are yawning. Some of you are restlessly looking at each other. That is observable behavior. I can see one of you are restlessly, you are looking at each other. Somebody is writing something in your notebook and giving it to the next person, interacting that means. Some of you are dozing. So from your behavior, I can study your mind. How can I study your mind? What will be my conclusion? You are getting bored, or you couldn't follow my class. Isn't it? So from observable behavior. Otherwise, if you sit like this, I can't study your mind, whether you can follow or you cannot follow. So this is by observable behavior, we can study one's mind. And in fact, a child is throwing temper tantrums, breaking things, and then he is behaving destructively. So from that we can conclude he is getting angry. He wants mother's attention. He is feeling hungry. From his observable behavior, we can understand his mind. So behavior includes anything a person or animal does that can be observed in some way. Behavior, unlike mind or thoughts or feelings, can be observed. Unlike mind or thoughts. Mind or thoughts we cannot observe, but behavior can be observed, recorded and studied. No one ever saw or heard a mind, but we can see or hear behavior. From what is done and said, psychologists can and do make inferences about the feelings, attitudes, thoughts and other mental processes which may be behind the behavior. So, by studying one's behavior, we can understand somebody's feelings, attitudes, thoughts and other mental processes. In this way, internal mental processes can be studied as they manifest themselves through what people do, the behavior. So psychology is the study of human behavior. Through the behavior, we can study one's mind, his attitude, feelings, wishes, thoughts and other mental processes we can study through his behavior. So psychology is the study of human behavior. Psychology may be defined, psychology is the science of the experience and behavior. Here the word experience is added. Experience and behavior. Psychology may be defined as science of experience and purpose and behavior of individuals who processes the relevant information from the environment or for satisfactory adjustment. So what we learn, we are adjusting to the social environment. We are adjusting. And how we are adjusting? From our past experiences, we learn to adjust to the society. So experience is very important. How we are adjusting to the society, to the college, to at home, how we are adjusting, how we are making our adjustment. It depends on our experiences. From different kind of experiences, we learn many things, and that we incorporate in our adjustment process. And on the basis of experience only, we learn the things and we make proper adjustment in the society. Behavior of an individual involves choice of an alternative, but of a set of alternatives after he processes the information proceeding from the environment. Whatever information he got from the environment, he processes it, and then he makes set of alternatives he makes, and then the behavior of an individual involves choice of an alternative, but of a set of alternatives. From the experience, he makes lot of alternatives, and out of that he accepts one and he makes his adjustment. So it is psychology, the science of experience and behavior. We cannot ignore our experiences. Now, I think it is clear what psychology is. It is clear what psychology is. But psychology it has got many different branches. It is not one subject, psychology. Under this, there are many different branches. Have you heard any other branches of psychology? So psychology is such a broad subject. Different branches of psychology have formed to study different aspects of human behavior, thoughts and experience. So human behavior, although we are saying that human behavior has got different parts, different kinds of behavior. Social behavior, cognitive behavior, emotional behavior, so different kind of behavior. And for that, we need different branches of psychology. So there are numerous branches of psychology, but I am just giving this psychology, these branches. This is abnormal psychology. Have you heard abnormal psychology? Psychiatric patients, psychiatric hospital. Have you visited any psychiatric hospital? Sometimes, no? So those psychologically ill persons, mentally ill persons, the abnormal psychology. Then behavioral psychology, biopsychology, cross-cultural psychology, forensic psychology, clinical psychology, cognitive psychology, industrial or organizational psychology, developmental psychology, educational psychology, personality psychology, social psychology, sports psychology. So can you believe so many branches of psychology? Industrial and organizational psychology. Nowadays, everywhere psychology is required, psychologists are required. Suppose for recruitment, for admission to different institutions, organizations, psychologists is required. They will judge one's personality, they will see their adaptability. Suppose the sales, in some companies, when they recruit person for sales, some other aspect they will see. Not whether he is the topper or not, they are not least important about those things. But they will study different aspects of his behavior, whether he will be good in that branch or not. So that the psychologist is required in each and every branches nowadays. It's a very important subject. Now, what is abnormal psychology? It's an area that looks at psychopathology and abnormal behavior. So abnormal behavior, which is not normal, abnormal behavior. The term covers a broad range of disorders from depression to obsession compulsion to sexual deviation and many more. Counselors, clinical psychologists and psychotherapists often work directly in this field. This is abnormal psychology. They deal with the abnormal behavior of persons. Some persons you will learn later on, there are different mental disorders. Schizophrenia, have you heard the term? Schizophrenia, obsessive compulsive disorder, psychotic patient, neurotic patient. These for treatment of these people, the abnormal psychologists required, and they are in the hospitals, and psychotherapists often work directly in this field. The psychotherapists, those who can give the treatment through psychotherapy, psychological methods, they are involved in this abnormal psychology branch. Clinical psychology. Clinical psychologists are required here in this branch, in hospitals. Then developmental psychology. And in child development, you are studying developmental psychology. This is throughout our whole lifespan, right from infancy till old age, we are passing through different stages of our lifespan, and gradually how we are proceeding from one stage to another. This will be included under developmental psychology. A child, suppose an infant, he is learning intelligence, he is acquiring intelligence, infancy in a different way, and then when he goes to toddlerhood, he will acquire some different knowledge, and then he goes to the school age, he will learn something more. So how developmentally he is progressing in intelligence or in personality, whatever aspects, how he is progressing developmentally, it will be covered under developmental psychology. Child development, you will learn only about developmental psychology. This is the scientific study of systematic psychological changes that a person experiences over the course of his or lifespan. Developmental psychology is often referred to as human development. It is used to just focus on infants and young children, but also includes teenagers and adults today. The whole human lifespan. Developmental psychology includes any psychological factor that is studied over the life of a person, including motor skills, problem solving, moral understanding, acquiring knowledge, etc. So this will be included under developmental psychology. Then comes cognitive psychology. How we understand the world, how we solve our problems. These things are included under cognitive psychology. This branch investigates internal mental processes such as problem solving, memory, learning, and language. How people think, perceive, communicate, remember, and learn. This branch of psychology is closely related to other disciplines such as neuroscience. Neuroscience, brain, with the brain it is related. Neuroscience, philosophy, and linguistic practical applications for cognitive research may include how to improve memory, increase the accuracy of decision making, etc. So cognitive psychology, it is related to how we learn certain things, how we acquire some knowledge. It is related to neuroscience. Certain parts of the brain, at the beginning I told you, certain parts of the brain is related to our language. A language, through language we learn, acquire knowledge. We communicate with others. We have to understand the language. So this is related to our brain. How we understand, how we memorize certain things, how we develop our language, how we perceive certain things. Now I have shown you those pictures. You have perceived. This is two faces. You perceive. That is cognitive. That is understanding. How you can understand that picture is of the picture the triangle. How you can say these are three pairs of lines. This will be included under cognitive psychology. So once you study child development or human development, you are having scope to go to different branches later on. So nowadays these are all diversified courses, diversified areas. Suppose cognitive psychology, this is one branch which you can continue after studying human development. It is an upcoming field nowadays. Then comes educational psychology. It is a study of how humans learn in educational settings, the effectiveness of educational intervention, the psychology of teaching, and social psychology of schools and organizations. So educational psychology, how individuals learn. In a school, there are educational psychology, how they can learn, how this, suppose certain curricula, whether it is suitable for this particular age group or not. So this is the task of educational psychology. And then effective educational intervention. We have to teach certain things to a group of children, whether they will be able to cope up with this or not. The attention span. This will be included under educational psychology. And the social psychology of schools as organization, the whole school setup, academic environment, everything will be included under educational psychology. Educational psychology is concerned with how students learn and develop, often focusing on subgroups such as gifted children and those subject to specific disabilities. Because all children are not equally intelligent. Some are gifted, very higher range of intelligence some may be having, and some may be a bit slow. So it is the responsibility of the educational psychologist to discriminate, to divide, to sort out those who are intelligent and those who are a bit slow learners. Then accordingly they should be taught. So these are the responsibility of educational psychologists. Then neuropsychology studies the structure and function of the brain in relation to behavior and psychological processes. Neuropsychology is also involved in studies of the brain. This already I have explained. This is neuropsychology, the study of the brain, how different parts of the brain are related to different kinds of behavior. A neuropsychologist will use a neuropsychological evaluation, a systematic assessment procedure to determine the degree of any possible behavioral problem following suspected or diagnosed brain injury in a patient. When diagnosis is made, some patients are treated with an individual cognitive remediation protocol. Suppose a particular child, he cannot understand certain things. So it is the neuropsychologist's responsibility because of the fault in which part of the brain. To identify that, it is the responsibility of the neuropsychologist. Now there are certain disabilities, like you will learn later on, maybe some behaviors are maybe due to deformity or some problems in the parts of the brain. The brain has got one part, suppose this is a Broca's area, Broca's area, and that part is related to one's language development. So what is this problem with the Broca's area? We have to identify that. That way we can plan intervention. So neuropsychologist's responsibility to study the problem of the brain and how it is related to one's behavior. Then personality psychology. This branch of psychology is focused on the patterns of thoughts, feelings and behavior that make a person unique. Now what is personality? I mean personality শব্দটা বহুত ব্যবহার করো না Don't you use the term personality? আমি কমেন্টও মানুহৰ ওপৰত কাবাক লগ পালে কওঁ personality বিষয়ে, isn't it? So it is the sum total of different qualities, sum total. Personality এটা বস্তু নহয় জানো? So this branch of psychology focused on the patterns of thoughts, feelings and behavior that make a person unique. So this personality psychology, it studies the personality of the individual. Some of the best known theories in psychology have arisen from this field, including Freud's stages of theory of psychosexual development and Erikson's theory of psychosocial development. In the Freudian reaction, they have studied the personality development, they have given different stages of personality development, and this has come as a result of the studies done on personality psychology. And behavioral psychology. Behavioral psychology is a branch of psychology that focuses on observable behavior. Like I told you at the beginning, behaviors are always observable, and we said focus on observable behavior. Conditioning, reinforcement and punishments are key concepts used by behaviorists. This is conditioning means, this will go later on in while learning, you will learn about conditioning. Then reinforcement. This is sometimes we try to change one's behavior through rewards and punishment. When a child does certain things, we give him a reward. We just appreciate him. We say, you are a good boy. You have done it so nicely. These are praise, appreciation. And these are reinforcement. And punishment. When he does something wrong, we give them punishment. Maybe it's scolding, maybe the frowning you. It's a punishment. And these are the key concepts used by the behavior. To change the behavior is this conditioning, reinforcement, punishment. These things are used to change one's behavior. So behavioral psychology, it works on these three things. Then biopsychology, while our minds play a role in our physical well-being, our biological processes also influence our mental health. Because of the mind, when our minds play a role in our physical well-being, so when our mind is free, when we are happy, we are physically healthy also, isn't it? And similarly, when our biological, when we are sick, then we become mentally also become very depressed, isn't it? So these two things are related, and biopsychology studies that. And cross-cultural psychology. Cross-cultural psychology is a branch of psychology that looks at how cultural factors influence you. How different culture, people from different culture, it influences one's behavior. Cross-cultural psychology studies that. Then forensic psychology, you might have heard this term, forensic psychology. It's the psychology and the law, relationship between psychology and the law. Then clinical psychology is the branch of psychology concerned with the assessment, diagnosis, treatment and prevention of mental disorder. So they mainly clinical psychologists, they do the assessment part. This, I was telling about intelligence and personality. We can assess them, how much IQ a person has, what kind of personality the person has, amount of emotional intelligence a person has, we can assess them. One's frustration level, one anxiety level, we can assess it. And this is the responsibility of the assessment, is the responsibility of the clinical psychologists. They are having the expertise in administering psychological skills for assessment. Then on the basis of assessment, they can diagnose the problem, they can treat it and prevent from mental disorders. And then industrial and organizational psychology. Industrial and organizational psychology is concerned with the study of workplace behavior. It is in an industry or an organization, workplace behavior, how you are relating to your co-workers, how you are relating to your boss. So these are organizational behavior. How much effort you are putting for the benefit of the organization. These are your skills. These will be included under industrial or organizational psychology. Then human factor psychology. Human factor is the branch of psychology concerned with applying psychological principles to product design, usability issues, human-computer interaction and ergonomics under this. Then comparative psychology is the branch of psychology concerned with the study of animal behavior. The study of animal behavior can lead to deeper and broader understanding of human psychology. So they compare it. Then social psychology seeks to explain and understand social behavior and looks at diverse topics including group behavior, social interaction, leadership, non-verbal communication and social influences on decision making. This will be under social behavior. It will be under social psychology. And sports psychology, the study of how psychology influences sports or athletics. Then biopsychology, study of how the brain influences the behavior is often known as biopsychology. Although it is also called physiological psychology, behavioral neuroscience and psychology. So these are all about different branches of psychology. So I think